Hi everyone and welcome to Unit Review. We're your hosts, Jack
and Dan.
Today we're going to be looking at the Overlord model.
Yeah, almost every Necron collector's got some of these in their collection, but are they going on the tabletop? And if they are, which detachments are best?
That's very true. That's very true. There's a few different variations, different ways you can play them and run them, but I find them hard personally.
Yeah, it depends on your playstyle, and very much. I think it's very much detachment dependent.
Yeah.
But let's get into it, and you can find out as we go.
Definitely. Well, let's start off.
Lost my train of thought then. Just trailed off into the distance.
It happens. Well, we'll get straight back on with the stat block. Dan, you want to start off?
Yes, even I can manage this. It's got a move of 5 inches.
Yeah.
Toughness of 5. It's got a 2-up save and a 4-up invuln. 2-up save on infantry characters are great. 6 wounds, a leadership of 6+, and an OC of 1.
Not bad. Not bad.
It's decent
for a character.
Yeah,
pretty solid. Yeah. Unit composition side of things, he is 85 points. He is equipped with the Tachyon Arrow and the Overlord's Blade, which pretty cool names, and I do like the lore behind the Tachyon Arrow as well.
Yeah.
Now, those two weapons can be replaced with one of the following: Overlord's Blade, the Staff of Light, or the Void Scythe. And if you do not run the Tachyon Arrow, you can then run the Resurrection Orb instead. That's really important on that part, which we'll get onto later. He can also lead the Immortals, the Lich Guard, and the Necron Warriors.
Yeah, all of that's pretty decent. We'll come on to the war gears in a bit, but there's you've got options there at least.
Yeah.
But there is one, there's one loadout that we're particularly fond of.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. There is, definitely.
Probably most of you as well, but we'll get into that, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll explain why, because it's really cool.
Yeah.
But before that, Dan, keywords.
He's Necrons, which obviously everybody would expect.
Yep.
He's infantry and a character. He's got the Overlord keyword and the Noble keyword. So those are important for the Obeisance Phalanx detachment, obviously.
Pretty standard stuff on that one there. Yeah, pretty good.
Where he starts to get tasty is weapons. Do you want to run us through those?
Well, certainly can. So we'll start off with the range side of things then. So he has the Staff of Light, which is 18 inches. With that one, you get 3 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 5, -2 AP, and 1 damage. We'll jump straight onto the Tachyon Arrow side of things. Now, this is one shot.
Yeah.
It's interesting because there's not a lot of things out there that have one shot anymore. I think the Imperial Knights have one of the one as well.
Yeah, I think the Hunter killer missiles on the tanks, Imperial tanks, is the other main one, isn't it? But yeah, there's not, like you said, there's not many. And what it means is that if you're hitting on 2s, you'll always roll a 1.
Yeah, that's
absolutely guaranteed.
It's written in the rules.
Yeah,
it has to be that way. Yeah,
but tell us what it does anyway.
Absolutely. So this is one shot. It is 72-inch range. Again, one hit. You get hitting on 2s, strength 16, nice. -5 AP, and D6 +2. So
if you don't roll that 1, it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which again, by law,
yeah.
I will always roll a 1. But no, I really like the idea around the Tachyon Arrow. It really fits the lore in my eyes because there's I think it's in the Infinite and the Divine, or maybe with the Twice Ten King. Yeah,
it might be. Tell us if we're wrong, but tell us the story.
I absolutely love it where it's basically like the one of the older overlords who's like a bit more mature than maybe another overlord that's there, is kind of talking to another, again, 2 lords / overlords talking.
Yeah, I think they're brothers. Like, it's the big brother talking to his younger brother, isn't it? Yeah.
And they're talking about like a massive Imperial Knight walking towards them, and they're like, so that's a big one coming out. Oh, have you still got your Tachyon Arrow? And he's like, no, I used that within like the first month. I was gifted to it from the Silent King.
Yes.
And he's like, brother, should have saved it. Like, this is what it's for.
He fired it at an aircraft and missed, I think, is the something like that. It's like, he basically totally
absolutely
it. He rolled his 1.
Which again is very fitting.
Yeah.
But this obviously more mature one saved it and was like, well, this is what it's used for.
Yeah.
And he fired it at the Imperial Knight and just one-shotted it.
Yes.
Which was amazing in the books. You haven't watched it or listened to it.
To rub it into his little brother, the key word he uses to fire his Tachyon Arrow is patience.
Yeah.
He just points his arm and goes, patience. And just one shot to the Titan. It's awesome.
I mean, it's a slow-moving Titan, so he's going to hit it. But it's very good. It's a shame that he doesn't one-shot most things in this edition.
I suppose it's one of those ridiculous weapons where the lore couldn't be replicated fully on the tabletop. The points would just be insane, wouldn't they?
It would be crazy.
If you could kill a 500-point model, even like a knight.
That'd be funny.
It would be.
He's 85 points, taking down 500 points. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
But D6 +2 is all right.
No, it's
good.
not.
It's good.
Nothing to shy away from.
Melee wise, there's a few options here, and one of them is pretty choppy as well, isn't it?
There is. So I'll just run down from the top to the bottom there. So we've got the Overlord's Blade. This has devastating wounds. It has 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 8, -3, and 2 damage. Pretty solid.
Yeah.
The Staff of Light in melee is 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 5, -2 and 1 damage. Boo. Get rid of that. Sucks. And then this is what everyone's here for, the Void Scythe. So again, this has devastating wounds.
Nice.
It has 3 attacks, so one less. Hitting on 3s, strength 12, -3 and 3 damage. That is, if you're bringing in an Overlord, that's what you're bringing them for.
Yeah.
That Void Scythe that's a damage dealer.
Somebody pointed out in the comments, I think it was our friend Matthew. Thank you, Matthew, for another one of your great comments. But there are very few generic infantry characters in 40k that have a strength 12 melee weapon. I mean, that is just insane.
It's scary. Yeah. Again, you like a Bob Terminators dive in and it's like, all right, cool. Are you going to hit back? It's like, strength 12.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why? It's like, I don't know. It's what I've got. But I think you can increase that as well, can't you, with certain like enhancements?
Yeah, on the in the Awakened Dynasty, you've obviously got the Hungry Void strat, which is +1 strength and +1 AP. So you'd be strength 13, AP 4 on an infantry character. That's
taking down
bonkers.
tanks easily.
Yeah. I mean, like using that, making a Land Raider save on 6s is ridiculous.
I love it. But we'll move on then, Dan. So abilities.
Yes, I mean, his faction ability is reanimation protocol, so D3 wounds back in the command phase. Is a really interesting ability. It's been nerfed slightly, but if you use it right, it's still very strong. I think
very good. Yes,
is My Will Be Done. Once per battle round, 1 unit from your army with this ability can use it when its unit is targeted with a stratagem. If it does, reduce the CP cost of that stratagem by 1 CP. So it used to be each Overlord could use this each battle round, and it could reduce the cost of a strat to 0 CP. Now it's just be aware of this. It's just 1 Overlord per battle round. So if you've got 2 Overlords, only one of them can do this per battle round. But it's still good. You know, the ability to it can become in clutch. You just have to use it carefully.
Yeah, you just got to have that awareness piece to be like, all right, cool, right? Do I still have it? Because again, those 2 CP strats, you might need them. You might only have 1 CP.
Yeah.
So making sure you use it at the right time is still really good. What about the other ones?
He's also got implacable resilience. I see why you got me to read these.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan.
Each time an attack is allocated to this model, subtract 1 from that attack's damage characteristic. He's basically Redemptor Dreadnought -1 damage.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is only going to come into play once if he's getting precisioned.
Yeah.
But it means he's harder to take out.
It's true.
But with a precision's attack, so that's good. And then last but not least, instead of the attacking arrows you mentioned, you can have a resurrection orb.
Yep.
Once per battle, while the bear is leading the unit at the end of any phase, it can resurrect that unit if it is on the battlefield. So when you do that, that unit's reanimation protocols are reactivated, and you reanimate D6 wounds rather than D3 when doing so. And again, you can't resurrect more than 1 unit per turn, so you can't pop more than 1 res orb in the same turn. Which is important to remember. But that can, again, that ability to out of phase, if you like, reanimation is very strong, isn't it?
Exactly. End your opponent's fight phase before getting to your command phase, you might that slight shift in balance might stop you from losing a battle shock test.
Yes.
So if it's really important, probably use it at the right time. So just make sure you use it before.
Or, use it after shooting to res some models back in so they can survive
for a fight phase
charge. And then you can res more in your combat phase, etc., in command phase. So.
Or even like to steal an objective from an opponent as well. Maybe res back on. So some of our little ways. I think I always take the Void Scythe and the res orb. Like, to be fair, the Tachyon Arrow, although it's really cool, I just don't see. I roll my ones so easy on the hit rolls. So
there's a few people were saying in the comments, Matthew again, but a couple of other people that in Awakened Dynasty, obviously there is is it the Arisen Tyrant enhancement where you get reroll hits? So
yes,
that gives you a bit of built-in
redundancy.
That's the word. Thank you. Yeah. So can you roll 2 ones? Is a question.
I certainly can.
Yeah, I've seen you do it.
Yeah, I've seen you do it. It's horrible. It's horrible.
But that probability-wise, that gives you a little bit more comfort, I suppose. But I'm just not sure I'm spending that to get attacking arrow off.
No, because I mean D6+2, I could roll a 1 on that one as well.
Yeah.
So
very true.
It's too swingy, man.
Yeah, it is a bit swingy. But it is there. And again, a few of you that do use it, you brave men and women, but if there's any more of you that use it, let us know why and what it's done for you. Somebody's said, like it's helped them chip the last wounds off a vehicle before and stuff like that, because your opponent just kind of forgets it's there sometimes.
Yeah. Definitely.
So again, I suppose if you in certain circumstances it can change the game, but it's very, very swingy.
It is. Yeah, definitely.
Good.
Definitely.
Okay, stratagem-wise?
Yeah, so we'll move on to that one. So the first one I've got that I quite always enjoy, and we've probably mentioned it a few times, is the Protocol of the Sudden Storm. So this one is a 1 CP in the Awakened Dynasty. It's in your movement phase. You select one Necrons unit from your army. Basically, it gives your models the Assault ability. In addition, if the Necron character in the unit is leading it, you can reroll the advanced rolls made for that unit. It's really good.
It's not bad.
He's going to be in it. He's going to be in the. Obviously, he's a character himself. So when you run the Necron Warriors or Mortals or Lich Guard, if you wanted to, you can do a little interesting way.
Yes, you'd have to have a gun in there, like from a Chronomancer or something, wouldn't you? From the Lich Guard, to be able to,
not really worth it, the Lich Guard. But yeah, mainly the Necron Warriors. It's just good to kind of get that extra bit of movement.
Actually, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I think, I don't think you need a Chronomancer, but yeah, I think you're right.
Lich Guard, give them the Staff of Light.
Yeah, I mean, for Lich Guard, it's more interesting simply to re-roll the advanced roll, isn't it?
It is.
But generally, for those guys with the Gauss, because the Tesla has Assault, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if you're taking Warriors or Immortals with Gauss, then the ability to give them Assault for a turn can be clutch again as well, can't it? And the ability to re-roll the advanced roll to get you within where you need to be.
On an objective, maybe to get a board edge or something like that.
Get where you need to be and still get some shots off is good. Yeah.
For sure.
And that one's in Awakened Dynasty, isn't it?
It certainly is. It certainly is.
The OG detachment.
The OG one.
And that's we'll come on to that, but that is very, very much where these guys hit the sweet spot. One of the detachments where they hit a sweet spot.
I agree.
Excellent. And what's the next stratagem that you would recommend using with this guy?
Next one is the Dimensional Corridor. A couple of reasons why. I really like this one. It's in the Hypercrypt Legion. This is in your charge phase. You select one Necrons unit from your army that was set up on the battlefield this turn using the Eternity Gate ability or from the monolith.
Oh yeah.
This unit is eligible to charge this phase. It just allows that extra basic maneuverability, and it gets them in, and this Overlord gives them the -1 to their CP. So realistically,
for 1 CP,
just 1 CP instead of 2, which can be clutching, especially in those little tight little moments where you need to get this unit maybe on an objective. Maybe you want to, I don't know, scare the opponent by getting in a bit sooner than what they would expect. I think it's a really nice stratagem to use.
That's a really interesting one because it's not often that people recommend taking the Overlord in Hypercrypt, but that is really clutch. Again, you've got to be a good general, I suppose, to know when to use it, but that is a really, really good idea.
It's just nice.
The only other one that cropped up in the comments, which I hadn't thought of, is a very obvious one, but is the one in the Awakened Dynasty, excuse me, because I can't remember the name, but it's the one where you can resurrect a character after they've been killed.
Oh, yes.
Is it Eternal Revenant or something?
Eternal Revenant?
I'm not sure.
Something like that.
Yeah, tell us in the comments. I've probably got that wrong. You know the one I mean, though. But because I just call it the Resurrection Strat. I'm too lazy to learn the real names. But in Awakened Dynasty, that one's really useful because of the My Will Be Done he's got. So it's almost like free real estate, isn't it? It's worth spending a CP because he's going to reduce the cost of a strat.
Paying for himself again, really, isn't he?
That's the word, yeah. So good return on investment.
Exactly. Like those business folk.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I think they're the free good stratagems then to use, which is lovely. Best ways to play them, should I start off?
Yes, you've come up with a really nice one here, I think.
Yeah, it all depends, really. But this is, I like it. I like the model as well. But the first way I like to play this unit is you take the Overlord with the Void Scythe. Again, really good guy. The Res Orb, Plasmancer, and 20 Warriors. Now,
old school, baby.
Old school, exactly. Yeah. If you've got the points to spare, I do recommend a Reanimator as well, because those 20 blob of Warriors is so hard to take down, especially if you place the Reanimator in the right spot. Maybe keep that unit a bit safe. It's a very tanky blob, but with the Plasmancer, again, you're getting those lethals on 5s. So all those lethal hits hitting on 5s, you'll be basically hit on 5s. And it's just so
lethals on 5s is incredible.
Yeah,
you're exactly
so
right.
Good.
And what you've created here is giving them balance, I think, which we have to choose as Necron players. So you can take a Plasmancer for those tasty lethals on 5s, or you can take a Chronomancer, which makes them -1 a hit and obviously gives them a bit of extra movement, or the defensiveness of the Technomancer. You have to choose. But if you do it this way with the Resorb and the Reanimator, it is a bit more expensive, but you kind of get the best of both worlds, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Just the Resorb bring back D6 Warriors, plus the Reanimator bring back an extra D3, plus your Reanimation can bring back an extra D3.
And Warriors, you can re-roll reanimation rolls, can't you?
Is it D3 plus 3 when you're on an objective?
I think it might be. But
something along those lines. Or basically, whatever it is, you're bringing back a load of Warriors.
Yes.
An entire unit could get decimated to like 2 or 3 models, and you could probably bring back easily up to 10.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, if you roll hot, you're going to bring back double figures, which again, that's clutch, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's horrible for your opponent because again, especially if you're on an objective, you just swarm it, and it's like, right, this is mine now. So much better. So that was one way. Again, very pricey, but again, I think used right, you'll be laughing. The other way was the Overlord, again with the Void Scythe, because it's so much better. The Resurrection Orb. I like Lich Guards with swords and boards.
Yeah.
Get that 4-up invuln save. They're just a very tanky unit. You're not going to be able to get to the Overlord very easily.
Yeah.
And, if you play them in the Awakened Dynasty or, you get that +1 to hit and all that sort of stuff. And I think with a Lich Guard, you get that -1 inherently built in.
If their strength is higher than your toughness.
Exactly.
Yes,
when you're being
-1
led.
to wound. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, again, it's not as pricey as it used to be because obviously Lich Guard have kind of came down a bit in points, especially with, we're seeing the Obeison's Phalanx detachment now propping up a bit more. You might see the Lich Guard with Overlords coming out.
Yeah, and I think Obeison's Phalanx is one where because they've got the right keywords now. They if you're taking them leading, Lich Guard inherently get the benefits of the detachment rule in Obeison's Phalanx because they're Lich Guard.
Yeah,
but Warriors and Immortals don't. So they are going to be. You're going to see a lot more Overlords leading those tiny units in Obeison's Phalanx so that they give those units access to the detachment rules.
Yes, that's very true as well. Yeah,
yeah. And so that's I think that's really exciting, and I think Awakened is the other one where they come in, they do. Still fit very nicely because of those the synergies with some of those stratagems that we were talking about there before. So he's definitely got some play, but there are as you have rightly mentioned here in the notes, there's competition for those places, isn't there?
There really is. Just the Overlord's good. The thing is, the issue that this Overlord has is that he's not bad. He's got some good stats. The Resurrection Orb's always nice to have as well. The -1 to the stratagems. They're handy, they're good, but you got the Overlord with the Translocation Shroud. Yeah. That guy just has a bit more and does a bit more usability to maybe what you want. With the Lich Guard, for example, that guy can move the Lich Guard an extra 5 inch of movement. For the Lich Guard who don't have any ranged weapons, you need them in the right place. So, and there's a lot of other named characters out there, like Imhotep the Stormlord that we've already covered. That guy has so many more better abilities. And again, Imhotep gives you 1 extra CP, so this guy reduces it. Imhotep gives you 1 extra CP and that gives you more flexibility straight away because you can use it on any stratagem or any unit section.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So it's just like for the extra 15 points or whatever to take Imhotep or maybe take some other named Overlords, you get better value. So I'm not saying this guy's crap, but it's more just that he's not as good as the other ones.
I think it's detachment dependent. If you're running Obeisance, he's a must-have. I think at least one. The fact that they've nerfed the My Will Be Done so you can only use it on only one Overlord can use it per turn now is a bit of an issue for me. But I think in Obeisance you're running them. Firstly, to get My Will Be Done, but secondly, to give the keyword to the
Immortals and Necrons. Yeah, for sure.
And maybe, if you're playing Awakened Dynasty and you're playing like blobs of warriors for the reasons you just gave, there's some play there.
There is definitely some play, so you will still be used, not as much as others. Like
even in Awakened, you're probably taking the Shroud dude because they're the same points, aren't they?
Same points, yeah, exactly, 85 points each. So
just for extra movement for slow, one of Necrons,
guaranteed 5 movement.
Yeah. One of Necron's infantry's drawbacks is speed, isn't it? Yeah. So if you can overcome that,
it's even better. Yeah. Very good. Lastly, how best to verse this unit? Dan? What are you thinking?
We talk about this every week. So this is there's 2 things we talk about. Well, we didn't mention this strat this week. This is the first unit review we've done where we haven't talked about cosmic precision.
Can't believe it. What's it? We're like 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, and we've mentioned it. Damn it.
We need to get a cosmic precision jar and put like a pound in every time we mention it.
Oh God, I'll be out of money. It'll be all Warhammer fund.
Yes. But the other one that we always talk about with characters is actual precision. So using weapons with the precision key or units with the precision ability, whether that's through the Stratagem Epic Challenge or through a gun that's actually got precision.
Yeah. Just makes sense for any named characters.
The challenge with that is he's actually difficult, as we touched on before, because he's got -1 damage. So if you're doing precision with 1 damage, fair enough, but you're probably not going to take him out because he's got a 2-up save and a 4-up invuln.
Yeah.
And if you've got damage 2, he's reducing it to damage 1. There is another enhancement you can give him I think it's in Awakened Dynasty, which gives him a 4-up feel no pain as well. Which would just, I mean, if you...
It'd be a waste, really.
It's difficult to know, like, you shouldn't tailor your list, people, against your opponents, but... If your local meta has a lot of precision, you might want to think about giving him that.
Definitely.
Because it just makes him ridiculously hard to kill.
Like I say, he's not really given a lot out to realistically be a big threat. So the other way is literally just ignore this guy and just go for the unit that he's attached to. You'll probably take those ones out a lot easier.
I think, there's not... The thing is, if you're getting into melee, the only reason you might want to spend the CP on epic challenging him is to stop him hitting you with his big war scythe, because he will hurt you. But from shooting, he's very hard to get out with precision, I think.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, and I think obviously that's the other issue where it's like, all right, cool, I'm going to charge him to get in a combat to use precision, but this guy hits hard. The squad that he's in might all be shooting like the warriors, so you're tying that unit up might be good, but he's going to hit back hard. So make sure when you get in, take him out fast.
Yes. I mean, the only thing with that's the other thing is if you're playing like, I don't know, 20 Termagants or something, he's only got 3 attacks with the war side, so the worst he can do is kill 3.
Exactly.
So you're like, well, okay, I'm going to, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to be charging into him with something like you mentioned, Terminators or those kind of expensive elites,
they're going to go
8-bound or something from World Each or something. It's going to hurt if he chops a couple of them down. It's
because again
painful.
with the res orb, because all that chaff, all that yes, you might have a lot of attacks that hit hard, but you have to get through the chaff. If you don't get through the chaff, well, the reanimator is going to bring all the warriors back. If they're on objective, they're going to be coming back even more. And with the res orb, just you need to take out the chaff, and that can be quite hard.
And there is we've touched on this a few times in previous videos, but I think it's worth repeating is if you're playing against that build that Jack mentioned, where you've got a Plasmancer in there's a Reanimator nearby that you can't get, there's 20 warriors, that's like 400 points.
Yeah.
So there is a strong argument to say, right, if he's out of the way, like say he's on the left hand
objective,
no man's land objective, just leave him there. Go, all right, you can keep your 400 points there. I'm not bringing anything near you.
Sometimes the primary objective isn't about scoring like on. You don't have to be on 3. Sometimes it's just like, be on 2. It's like, all right, cool, be on 2 and do some actions. All right, I'll ignore that blob of a quarter of your army and I'll just focus on your other army.
Yes, try and if you can even try and bait him if he's not playing Hypercrypt. Try and bait him out into a corner or a flank and then leave him there. And then you can focus down on deleting the rest of his army.
Definitely,
good,
very nice. I think that's it then, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean overall. Overlord. Nearly said overall. Overall, the Overlord is a bit of a mixed bag. I think in certain detachments he's great. In others, he's perhaps less useful.
Yep.
And he's probably been outshone by the Translocation Shroud dude a little bit as well.
And just other name great models though. I love the authority.
The Takenara one's got a real kind of presence about him.
Yeah.
The Resorb one, the OG Resorb one, is a bit more kind of dynamic, but they're both good.
I still love them both. I think the orb is just like because it reminds me of like Dawn of War, where it's like I'm going to crush it and like put it in the ground. So I like the models. Really good.
Good. Well, let us know in the comments if we've missed any ways that you like to play the Overlord, and also on this debate, like, do you take OG Overlord or do you take the Translocation Shroud?
Yeah.
But otherwise, thank you for watching, and we'll be back soon with another unit review.
Thank you.